What up? What up? What up? Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. I'm your boy, Mick Meister, as my brother likes to call me. In full effect, welcome back to South Florida Ave. I'm your boy, Mick Slick, aka Mick Meister, of course, alongside my brother. Of course, you guys know him, Vic Versatile. What's happening, Vic? How you be?
Blessed to still breathing. What can I say? Ain't no complaining. You already know what time it is.
Yes,
Welcome,
sir.
like my brother said, back to the show, South Florida Ave, week number. We don't know, but I can
I
tell you
tell you what,
this.
it's
What's up?
playoffs, baby. It's the playoffs.
You stole the words right out of
Conference
my mouth, bro.
championship, baby. Let's
Stole the
go.
words right out of my mouth. We don't know what week it is, but we do know it is the absolute AFC and NFC conference championship games,
Let's
whatever
go.
NFL week that is. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're at today. And
We
we're
are here.
bringing it to you live, I should say, and loud from South Florida Ave. This is what we do. You
Yes,
ready to
sir.
get into this, Mick?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, as always, we're going to pick up right where we left off. Last week, you guys know it. We know it. Two games happening. Hopefully, you guys caught them. If you did not, we're going to go ahead and recap it for you and give our opinions on how that kind of week played out. We'll go ahead and start with the AFC West matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Um, pretty cold outside. We could say it wasn't the type of game that we expected to see weather-wise. The city of Buffalo did a really good job. Shout out to the city of Buffalo and
Definitely.
whatever stadium that is, and whoever is maintaining that for preparing the stadium
For
to
real.
not even look like it was snowing
Yeah.
outside. I'm
It looked
sure it
really
was
nice.
cold,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a clean looking field. And as a result, there was a showdown. But you give me your take on that, bro.
Well, I mean, my take on it is, I told you. This is what I told you. So off the rip, I got to say that. Let me say that I predicted this game correctly because I didn't predict all of them correctly. So I'm going to be completely transparent. But this one I did pick correctly. Again, we had Jordan Mahomes versus the great Josh Allen, and it was a great game, Vic. It honestly was. It was an exciting game, fun to watch. Had everything you would want to have in a playoff game. Um, I say this. The Buffalo Bills had an opportunity to not only tie the game, but they also had a chance to win the game. Several chances, I would say. So for them to still come up short like that, I don't know if something's happening in Buffalo. I know they must feel a certain type of way because this is a golden opportunity to be able to beat Patrick Mahomes and home in your stadium and to still come up short like that, to miss a field goal right. It's ringing, shades of nostalgia for me and you both after we talked about this game because there's actually two kickers historically in Buffalo's history that have missed kicks, Norwood being one and Christie being the other. And what's funny about that conversation you and I had following the game is that we're looking at the jersey number of the player that's kicking the field goal currently in 2024 for the Bills, and he's number 2. And I was under the impression it was Norwood. You told me it was Christie. And it's funny about that, too, that I wanted to make a point about that. Me being a little older than you. So my memory is going to go far back a little bit, be a little bit more, I'm going to remember Norwood more than I'm going to remember Christie because that was more passing. With you, Christie, being in the 90s, that was the height of you getting into football and watching football. So it's funny that you remember that Christie actually wore the number 2. Norwood wore number 11, I believe we came to that result. But having said all that, having missed the kick right to lose the game, we had an opportunity to come back. And Kansas City gave Buffalo several opportunities at the end of that game to win that game, not only tie it up, but to win it. Stephon Diggs missed a deep ball late. A couple of things could have went right. It could have went differently for Buffalo, and the outcome could have been different. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. Kansas City came out on top, and Kansas City is going back to the AFC Championship game. What you think, Vic?
Oh yeah, man. I would, I had to quadruple check just to, make sure, Steve, Scott Norwood, Steve Christie, yeah, wide right. I know we weren't tripping. There's no Mandela effect that can happen on this one because I remember seeing it live. The crazy
Yeah.
part about watching it live, and I'm sure we was together when we watched this, and
Oh, yeah.
I think part about the crazy part about seeing it live is that you and I and everybody else on TV watching it knew that, well, a couple of years ago, Scott Norwood in this same position and the same result. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I know South Florida Ave. We down here in South Florida, ladies and gentlemen, United States of America.
Facts.
We can't be the first people to say to the Buffalo Bills, "What in the earth are you doing with allowing your kickers to wear that number?" I got to question the coaching staff. I mean, I could question the ownership, but I mean, somebody should have retired that number in the wrong type of way. But outside of the ownership and whatever they're doing, I don't even really put it on it. I really do put it on the coaching staff. If we had a conversation like this early in the year, we were talking about college football and the University of Notre Dame and these notorious green jerseys, whoever's being hired as the coach should be fully aware on when to pull the trigger on those jerseys. And clearly, somebody didn't get the memo. Listen, guys, I have
Good
a
point.
full time job, but if you want to hire me part time to kind of consult these coaches about these scenarios, I'll take it. Um, but yeah, there should be absolutely no reason under the sun that as a coaching staff, you're not fully aware of this before the beginning of the season and force your kickers into wearing number 99 or below and make that determination. Keep them out of the wrong number. But with that being said, as we leave the kickers alone, it should have came down to the last kick of the game, right? Buffalo, you said it. Buffalo, this was your opportunity. You're playing at home. You got Kansas City on the road for the first time. Josh Allen, you have been the hottest quarterback and football team in the league for the
Yeah.
last 6 or 7 weeks at this
Hmm.
point in time. So you really do have to put your foot in their neck and kind of just do what it is that you need to do, which is get your Buffalo Bills back to the Super Bowl. And once again, they did blow it, and I will agree with you. Stephon Diggs. I mean, what can I say, man? Love that guy as a receiver,
He's a
but
great player. Yeah, he had a bad game. I mean, I think it's safe to say he had a bad game. I mean, he missed a couple of passes earlier in the game, but that deep pass late in the fourth quarter, I mean, the one he was talking, he act as though it was off when we actually saw the replay. It hit him in the hands. It was like, man, got to have that one, Stephon. That's the one we need. That's the one we got to have. So definitely, if things would have went differently, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But it seems like there's always a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas when it comes out of Buffalo. So there's nothing new when we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. And Kansas City is on to the AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes,
Jordan Mahomes, you mean, does it
that guy,
again.
that
They
guy,
are still there. And
him.
you know, before we jump into what he's going to deal with next week,
Mm-hmm.
we got to go back and touch on. I know this is a sore spot for you, but at the end of the day, I'm going to speak on your behalf because I know that like I know, because we do this for real, and we watch this for real. I know you're not too disappointed with this loss. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveled to Detroit to take on the Lions, a hot Lions team in Detroit at home, coming off a big win last week, and couldn't pull it out. How you feel about that one?
Yeah, kind of like what you said. I feel like you kind of, summed it up properly for me as far as my perspective. It was a good game. We were competitive. I was excited to see that. I'm excited to see that we didn't, go up there just to lay down. So we were in the ball game, as a matter of fact. I mean, we had a chance to do some things, and Baker just made some timely interceptions, if you would like to call them that, on behalf of the Detroit Lions. So I'm representing the Detroit Lions. You see, I got my blue on for the Detroit Lions. Shout out to the Detroit Lions. I'm a stand-up type of guy. You know what I mean? So my team, if you're man enough to beat my team, then I'm not gonna fold away, go crying in the corner. No, yeah, you guys won. Hey, good game, and we'll see what they'll do next week. But yeah, good game, and Baker had a tremendous season. Happy for what we did in Tampa. Excited about the future. There's a question right now if we're even going to bring Baker back. So I'm pretty sure at the end of the day we will. I think that'll all get worked out. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Mike Evans, but that's a conversation for another day. But As of right now, yeah. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions. Hey man, they look really good. Like I said before, like I've been saying all season, they run the ball, they can throw the ball well. If Jared Goff is he's now in a system that allows him to do things that he's comfortable in doing, and he has a coach that believes in him, and that's evident from what we've been seeing. And that defense is actually flying around and making tackles, so they're making plays. So congratulations to the Detroit Lions. It was a great game, and wow, when's the last time you said the Detroit Lions are in the NFC Championship game? That's crazy. So, yeah, man, that's awesome.
I don't think I've ever said that in my lifetime. To be
Yeah,
honest with
we
you,
haven't.
and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching, this game since I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably seen every decent looking Detroit Lion team that existed. Never said that for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
perfect segue into what we're going to talk about now, which is next week. Lions taking on the San Francisco 49ers in
Yeah,
San Francisco.
NFC
And
Championship game.
how are you feeling about that? I mean, the last time I saw San Francisco play a ball game, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. And now
They
they
did.
are taking on the Lions. How you
Yes,
feeling about
the hot upstart Lions versus these. I don't want to call them savvy veterans because the team is relatively young in San Francisco as well. So, two really good teams, two really good head coaches. So we could kind of see the outliers of this coming along at the beginning throughout the year. So this is going to be an exciting game. I'll tell you that much, man. Niners, Lions. But if I had to choose right now, I'd say I'd probably go with Detroit. I don't want to go against what's happening with this momentum right now. Is this the year that they get off the hump? So this has been this kind of is looking like it's been a year that Detroit has been coming to fruition. I feel like this has been like the last 3 years. This has been Dan Campbell's plan. He's kind of had this outlier of things that he wanted to have achieve, and things seem to be falling into place for the Detroit Lions. So I think this might be Detroit year. So I'm going to go with Detroit to beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
Wow, man. Yeah, bro. I mean, listen. First of all, you touched on it. I'll just highlight it as well. I was surprised to see what Jared Goff was doing on the football field with the football last week. Um, and regardless of what Baker Mayfield did, Tampa Bay Buccaneers were consistent in the game. The Detroit Lions were consistent in the game. The one thing I did not expect to see was Jared Goff actually looking really sharp at quarterback. And that may have been the ultimate difference in the game because, I mean, he really did help the Detroit Lions move the ball. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
Detroit has a nasty running game. Detroit
Do.
has a nasty receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But Jared Goff's ability to put the ball in their hands, like, we're not talking about just completions. If you watched it, he was zipping the ball, man.
Mm-hmm.
Two people. That actually might work to their benefit coming up against San Francisco tomorrow, actually. However, you did say another word, which I agree with, which is San Francisco, as young as they may be, they are technically veterans at this point in time. And the reason that they're veterans is because they've been here before. They know what to do. They know how to get it done. They know how to not crack under pressure. They know when to put the pressure on. So it really is going to come down to, and now that you mention it, it really is going to come down to good coaching. And man, Dan Campbell has shown in the last even few games that if anybody's going to have his team prepared for a big situation, it's going to be him as a coach. The announcers and everybody on TV is talking about how well prepared and over prepared he is, how he's the first guy in and the last guy to leave. If that's believable, man, he might be the one that has the Detroit Lions prepared for the San Francisco 49ers. And
Hmm.
on the field, we know that San Francisco, they can have some loopholes every now and then. They can not look like the Niners every now and then. So I can't call it tomorrow. San Francisco at home. I mean, I would safely assume that they're going to get it done. I think tomorrow comes down to turnovers, which I don't see either one of these teams doing. But
Hmm.
at the same time, is that old Jared Goff? He's a turnover king. And so turnovers for the San Francisco 49ers would just be odd within itself. So if they lose that battle, they lose that game, in my opinion. But it does come down to the quarterback play between Brock Purdy and Jared Goff. Because, hey, Brock Purdy's still Brock Purdy. He's still doing his, wow, Brock Purdy with a completion. But then a couple games ago, Brock Purdy looked like Brock
a deer in
Nerdy.
headlights. A deer in headlights. Yeah. It
He
looks
looked like Brock
he,
Nerdy.
honestly, he looked like that last game, and for a short amount of time, he looked
He
like that
did.
again in the last game as well. So
He did. So if depends on which Brock shows up, Brock Purdy, Brock Nerdy, it matters. Is it going to be Jared Goff? Is it going to be Jared Off? I think that matters, and that's what it comes down to now. If you can stop Christian McCaffrey, that better be a part of your game plan. I'm assuming that's a strong part of your game plan, because if you don't, it's going to be a blowout. So if I had to put my hat on it, I don't know. I'm throwing it to San Francisco, but really I don't have a dog in this fight. And I really can't call it. I'm really just curious to see how the game is going to go and how it's going to play out. Good times, interesting stuff.
Yep, should be a good game. We'll see.
Yeah, man. And in the AFC, the last AFC game of the year comes down to the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. Give me something.
Man, I don't know. Listen, I can't. This is obviously a tough game to call. I mean, both quarterbacks here, both teams here have had excellent seasons. As a matter of fact, I would say Baltimore's had the better season. They definitely have the better record. They're the number one team in the NFL. And everyone is telling everyone else who would listen that this Kansas City team is not as good as the Kansas City teams in the past. So if you were to listen to the statistics and the paper and to the pundits, then Baltimore is supposed to win this game. It should be pretty much walking away with it. Baltimore's going to walk away with it. Lamar's going to walk away with the MVP, and the Ravens are going to go to the Super Bowl. So that's what they say. But man, I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know, man. Jordan Mahomes is Jordan Mahomes, man. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Picking up on it, huh?
I am picking up on it.
Starting to accept it, huh?
So, yeah, I mean, you don't want to go against him, but at the same time, Lamar is trying to tell us that he is the new him. But I said this last week, and Lamar proved me wrong.
You did.
I'm going to say it again this week. You're going to have to prove me wrong. Hey. I'm going to have to see you in the Super Bowl, Lamar, and then we'll see. But I'm going to have to see you I'm going to have to see you send Patrick Mahomes home. I'm going to have to see you do it. And you're at home. You're set up to do it. This is the opportunity. Y'all got Patrick Mahomes on the road again, 2 weeks in a row. But, and this defense has been stellar. It's the number one defense out there. They look crazy. And really to add insult to injury, bro, real quick, Patrick don't even have his left tackle in this game. He doesn't even have the starting left tackle in the game. So that really means Patrick's going to have to move around, make things happen with no Tyreek Hill, with Valdez Scantling out there running halfway decent routes, and Kelsey attracting double teams. Let me tell you, if he does it,
yeah,
it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. But I'm going with it, man.
100% odds are in the Baltimore Ravens' favor based on all the factors that you just said. Their defense looks really good. And when I see a defense, I say they look really good. When they make tackles, they make impacts on the tackles. That can wear you out. I'm not going to call a winner in this game because I don't want to. But I will call some in between the lines stuff. I don't want to.
This guy here, man.
This one's really tough for me because
it's tough for everyone, but everybody still want to know who you going with. You can't be coming over here next week talking about I told you when you didn't tell us nothing. You didn't tell us nothing. You're like, what a good game by such and such. I didn't have a horse in the race. We know who your team is. I ain't got no horse in the race either.
All right, fine.
People know who's gonna win the game. What you doing?
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I got. Dang, sucks.
Yeah.
Because what I see is a few different things.
Mm-hmm.
Defense looks really good in Baltimore. Um, I see if the Baltimore Ravens stick to focusing on their running game, they're gonna they're gonna win. Um, if they do that, I also expect them to actually kind of lock down whatever his name is, Rice, at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting the Buffalo Bills to game plan around that. Didn't necessarily happen that way. Um, I mean, he caught passes and he was open, and I, I'm surprised about that as a rookie, especially seeing how he was the only person making plays for them in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, Travis Kelsey can catch a ball every now and then, but he's going to do what he's going to do. And if you double team him, you can shut him down real easy. So if you
Mm-hmm.
shut down Rice and Kelsey, there's no Chiefs. And if I'm a coach going into, the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
But that's what the Buffalo Bills were trying to do, but they forgot about Pacheco out the backfield. Like, so it ain't just like they do run the ball too. Like Kansas City does
They
run the
do.
ball. So
They do, but I don't consider that being a factor tomorrow. I know I'm pretty certain it's not going to be a factor tomorrow. That's why I'm not even talking
sounds
about it because
like
I
the
feel
Ravens.
like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like the Pacheco is not going. I like this guy as a running back. I love how hard he runs, but I feel like the Ravens are going to play harder on defense, and that's the difference maker. Effort is the difference maker between Pacheco as a running back and whoever he's playing on defense because their running game, offensive line, and everything else associated with it is not that good. He just makes
It's
enough
him.
enough plays.
It's effort.
So as a
It's effort.
as a
Yeah.
running back, yeah, he's secondary to what they do on offense, and what
Mm-hmm.
they do primarily on offense it ain't looking real good right now. At the same time, the Baltimore Ravens did not have a good first half last week.
They did not.
And I don't know if they can afford to do that. They look good in the second half,
Mm-hmm.
but Baltimore at home, number one defense, Lamar Jackson, he's not going to be the one who loses this game for them. If they can run the ball, and I include little swing passes in that game, short swing game and running the ball, him running the ball with his legs, they're going to win this game. So I see the Ravens knocking off Jordan Mahomes. And
Hmm.
that's really hard for me, ladies and gentlemen, because I am the one who coined him, Jordan Mahomes. And if anybody can do it, he can do it. And I know he can do it. I just don't think he's going to do it tomorrow.
But not this year. You think Lamar's got his number? All right.
Next
So you like
year, it's
the Ravens.
over everybody else because all they need, Kansas City needs one piece. And I don't care where you get it at. If it's on a receiver, if it's a new running back, if it's a new offensive lineman somewhere, they just need one piece. And it's back over for you guys. Kansas City's defense looks really good, but I've seen some frustrated Mahomes in the playoffs this
Yeah.
year. I don't really see too much frustrated Lamar Jackson out there. Lamar's still kind of doing everything that he wants to do. So I think the advantage is in their favor. Baltimore
Okay.
Ravens.
So we got you on the record. We're going for Baltimore, not going for, but you think Baltimore's going to win the game. Who do you think are going to win versus the Detroit and 49ers?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I answered that question.
You did not.
Wow. 49ers at home experience. Put my money on Jared Goff, not looking like the Jared Goff of last week.
So
That's
you
it.
like Niners,
But again,
Ravens.
I
Just
do.
clarification.
I wish
you
I
like
didn't have
Niners,
to pick
Ravens, Super
these.
Bowl.
Yeah, I don't. But if I had to choose, I'm going with those two. I really wish I
Lions,
didn't have to
Chiefs.
choose in this scenario. But yeah, you're going with Lions,
It is
Chiefs.
what it
I'm going
is,
with,
but yeah, I got Lions,
yeah.
Chiefs. Which
That's what it
by
comes
the
down
way,
to.
which was the first game of the 2024 season.
Yikes! That'll
Did you
be
know that?
interesting. I tell you what, if that game
I'm just saying,
happened,
it was.
this is going to be a blowout.
For who?
So for our sake, we kind of don't want to hope that that game happens. Kansas
Why?
City's
Why
going to
you
blow
say
up
that?
Detroit. Kansas City is going to slaughter Detroit.
Wait. So if it's honestly, that's probably the way I would go with it too, honestly. But if it was a rematch, Lions Chiefs. If it was a rematch, Lions Chiefs. You're saying that the Chiefs will win the rematch in the Super
I feel
Bowl.
more comfortable saying this more than I feel comfortable picking who's going to win this AFC matchup and the NFC matchup. If Kansas City plays Detroit in a Super Bowl, they're not just going to win, bro. They're going to slaughter them. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a first half. I'm going to bed because Super Bowl's over type thing. Give
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes another Super Bowl title, and that's it.
You know, Detroit beat Kansas City the first game of the season. You know that, right?
Hey, man.
I'm just telling you. You know, Kansas City was at home, but Detroit went to Kansas City and beat Kansas City at home the first game of the regular season this season, 2024 season.
I'm going to end my thoughts here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that the Chicago Bulls still had to play 82 regular season games after they had already 4 championships in their banisters? They still had to play 82 games to get back to the playoffs to do it again. It don't matter what happened in week 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't care.
I'm just saying.
Playoffs, man.
They beat them boys already. They already beat them boys this year. They already beat them boys. They played them and they beat them.
Yeah, that was their Super Bowl, by the way. Let's not forget.
Well, that game, I honestly probably was the momentum that got them to where they are right now because they came out the gates hot. They were, on fire again, ending last season the way they ended and starting this season the way they started it. Man, you couldn't tell Dan Campbell anything. So they're playing with house money, and all of a sudden you're rolling, and everybody's on the train, and boom, now you're in the NFC Championship game. Wow, kudos to Detroit. I just want to give a shout out to Detroit. Like you say, bro, we've been watching football. I'm 40 plus years in this thing, man. Never seen Detroit get this far. So I commend all the Detroit fans, all the people who are true Detroit fans, not the bandwagoners, but the people who have been down bad with Detroit all these years, watching them boys lose. Trust me, being a Buccaneers fan, I understand. So I've had seasons where I've been just, I thought the whole league was working against us to not try to win any games. Honestly, it feels like that. So when your team can do like this, come from nothing to something, it's the best feeling in the world. So I want you to keep riding that high, take this thing on to the next round, and go to the Super Bowl. That would be amazing. So yeah, we'll see.
Very tough feat for them tomorrow. And I mean, I think it says a whole lot more than just NFC championship to them because, if they play well, great momentum, win or loss. If they play well tomorrow, great momentum going into next year. And, they really do need to know if they are that so that those fans that you just mentioned can have something to root for going forward. And it just makes everybody's job in the front office so much easier, knowing that you got a foundation that you can build upon at this moment in time. And I'm not sure that they do just yet. That's why it looks like they do. I will be the first to admit, but I think it's even more important that they do beat the San Francisco 49ers because let me say this, even though I picked the 49ers, I think Detroit's more talented than the San Francisco 49ers. I think they could dethrone them real easy and real quick, and we won't have to talk about San Francisco no more. I think we could talk about the Eagles again next year. If you think they're going to have a repeat performance coming into next year, you're crazy. The Eagles will be back, and if Detroit continues to be consistent like they are, we're not talking about San Francisco no more. You heard it here first, and I would love to get them off of their wagon or their hot horses. So if they play well tomorrow and they can knock them out, that might be it for San Francisco.
I don't know about it, but I think you make a great point. I mean, as far as us always coming into the season, kind of notching San Francisco up there as the top tier team or one of the top tier teams coming out of the NFC. No, if Detroit wins this game this weekend, then no, that conversation shifts. You're going to have Detroit kind of taking the place of San Francisco. You're going to have your Philadelphia Eagles. You're going to have your Dallas Cowboys because this is a cowboy-loving nation, regardless of how we want to spin it. They're going to always be in the conversation. But, yeah, you're right. I think maybe you stop talking a little less about San Francisco. You start talking a little bit more about Detroit. I think you're right.
San Francisco's going to have a tough year next year because they're going to have a lot of stiff competition that's no longer afraid of them. The Packers are on the rise. The Cowboys want their revenge. The Seahawks are never going to be something that you could just step over and say that, we don't look past. Not in that division. They always think they can win that division. And even the Rams out there.
I was about to say,
and the Rams out there are not afraid of 49ers either.
Yeah, the Rams want it. So, yeah.
Any given Sunday, they can take an L. So they need to be very careful. They're not scary right now.
Yeah. It's going to be some competition happening out there for real. But just as well in the NFC, you just mentioned the Packers. They're in the same division as these Detroit Lions. So, Hey, who knows? Minnesota, if Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt, what kind of season do they have? I mean, man, it's we're already talking about next season, and we're not even out of this season. This is
That's a
how
fact.
much this football is life. You heard me?
Good stuff this
So
year, ladies and gentlemen.
it's been a good season, really good season. Good time to be a football fan for sure. It's been one of the best seasons I can remember in recent years. So exciting season.
Yeah,
Excited to see this conclusion. We'll see what happens.
let's see who you got.
Mhm.
You guys go ahead and throw your some feedback in the note or in the chat in the comments. We want to
Mhm.
know who you're choosing. It's tough for
Mhm.
us. We want to know who you're choosing, who you got going forward in the NFC and AFC championship games and the Super Bowl. We'll be bringing it to you live from the 954 and the 305 and
Let's go.
everywhere in between. Let's go. South Florida Ave right here. You already know what we do. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And until next time, enjoy the game. Be safe. God bless you. We out.
Later.
Peace.
Peace.